Hi, and welcome back to my channel for the first part in what is going to be a two-part series discussing whether or not you can combine the goals of both endurance performance and weight loss. And when I say combine, just whether or not you can have both as goals, I don't mean they should be combined as one. So first, I do want to get into a quick trigger warning / disclaimer. Most of what I'm going to talk about is from my own personal experience as well as research that I've done. And I did also want to recommend that if you are someone who has previously dealt with disordered eating or any type of ED, this is probably a video that you should pass on because I do discuss weight loss and strategies for that when training. So this may not be the right video for you to watch. I will also, because I do think this will be a 2 to 3 part series just based on the amount of information I have on my computer screen that I want to cover, I will also include this kind of disclaimer and trigger warning at the beginning of those videos as well. So let's go ahead and start talking because this is going to be, I sat down to work on this and it is going to be a little bit long. And that is why I keep looking up at the timer because I do want to try and keep this a little bit more concise. That's why I do have my laptop in front of me with some notes on it, just about things I want to talk about. So to start off, the first thing I want to talk about is first thing, short answer to my question of can you have goals in both weight loss and endurance training at the same time? I believe that answer is yes. And I will get into that a little bit further into this, but the first thing I want to talk about is when you search for information on this topic, what are you actually being told? Because I tried to search for this just the other day, and honestly, I couldn't find much. The headlines I'm seeing, strength versus endurance training, which is better for weight loss, endurance versus interval training, which is better for weight loss, body weight moves to burn fat and build endurance. My search terms were endurance training and weight loss, yet none of these are actually how to manage both. Another one here, resistance training, why is it so effective for weight loss? And then there is an NIH study that I can link below if anybody's interested. It doesn't apply exactly to the situation though. It sounded more like it was people that came from maybe a sedentary background and were adding endurance training to help achieve their weight loss, where what I want to know more about and what I was trying to research was how to manage having goals in both at the same time without compromising performance or compromising your weight loss. So I did find two, I would say they're basically blog posts. The first is from Renaissance Periodization. Not familiar with the platform at all. I think it has come up in some of my searches in the past. So that one actually I thought gave some good points to it. I'll link both of these below so you can see what you think about them. Things like setting a timeline, targeting, having a target for the rate. So that one I actually did think had some good information to it. But the other one I was actually pretty disappointed in. So the other one was on Training Peaks' website. So a lot of endurance athletes are familiar with Training Peaks, myself included. I've used it to track my workouts and my fitness. I'm using it right now. I've bought a training plan through it before, and I like using it. I like the platform. I like the data. I really like data. So I like that. I enjoy the platform, but this essentially blog post, I'm guessing, and I don't know when it's from. This could be from 20 years ago, but it is on the first page of Google results for my search. So that's why I opened it. So this article, the first thing it says is get started now by eliminating all soda, including diet soda. So I'm not a soda drinker, but if diet soda, like a 0-calorie soda, is gonna be the way you cut out those calories you're drinking, I don't have an issue with it. It also says to eliminate alcohol, candy, cakes, chips, sweets, and all junk food. And that might be enough to create your gradual weight loss. I personally don't believe in depriving yourself of anything because I think that's not going to set you up for long-term weight loss. Now, if you're like in the last couple weeks trying to get down to a racing weight, maybe some steps like these are necessary. But if you are just trying to get into better shape, maybe just because for your health, maybe it is a little bit because like if you get into better shape, you'll have an easier time training. These are not things that I would do. I do think there are some things that are good, like fueling before your training sessions, sleeping 8 hours a night, but things like reduce your carb intake on rest or recovery days. Everybody's body responds, like in my experience, everyone responds differently to different breakdowns of macronutrients. So I am someone that I have tried significantly higher protein diets and I'm miserable on them. Like I have a terrible time getting in that much protein. So for me, trying to cut carbs on a day where I'm not training is just gonna leave me miserable and in brain fog. So I was not really happy with this. I also noticed that the person that wrote it, they're a USA cycling coach. It does not, or USA cycling certified coach. It does not say anything about a nutrition background. So if I was going to look to a source to like say, hey, this is what I'm gonna listen to, I would not listen to someone with these credentials. I would be looking for someone with a registered who is a registered dietitian. And that is just also a personal thing. Like even like a lot of nutrition coaches out there, they don't have enough education background sometimes to actually be offering their advice they're giving. So personally, while Google does have a lot of information out there, I think it is really important if you are researching a topic like this to make sure that you are taking it with a grain of salt and not listening to anything just because it seems like it comes from a reputable resource. Like I said, I use Training Peaks, but I would not listen to this article at all. So next thing I want to talk about is, so again, I said, yes, you can do both. And one of the reasons a lot of people do pursue weight loss as an endurance athlete is that weight does impact your training. We can't just forget, or it does impact your performance. We can't forget that this exists. The important thing I think from that is though, weight loss should not be driven solely by performance. What I mean is it shouldn't be like the highest priority in getting faster. So especially if you're in a situation where you're getting closer to like a goal race, weight loss probably needs to take a back seat at that point because you want to make sure that you're fueled and you're getting through your key sessions. And at that point, it's just not going to be a good time. And we've also seen this, so I can't remember her name, but there was a New York Times like YouTube video blog, I can't remember what they call them, about a elite female runner talking specifically about weight loss and how she was getting injured because she was also, and this is really paraphrasing at this point, but this is just kind of what I can remember because I watched it years ago. But she was getting injured because she was constantly dieting and constantly trying to lose weight to run faster. And if you are in that position where you're just focusing on weight loss to improve performance, I think that is a time where you might actually want to take a step back and reevaluate what is actually most important at that time. So now kind of getting a bit more into, like I said, yes, weight loss and endurance training can go together, but, and this is like a really big but, I think the goals of the two do need, I think the goals of the two do need to be completely separated. And what I mean by that is your goal for, you should not train to eat and you should not lose weight to train, is the best way I can think to put it. So I can give the example of myself when I was in college. I had lost a little bit of weight over the summer. I got to Christmas break and I decided I wanted to keep losing more weight. And So what I did to lose that weight was I downloaded my Fitness Pal, and it gave me this calorie goal of 1,340 calories. And then on top of that, again, and I think that was based on sedentary for 1 pound a week of weight loss. So on top of that, what I would do is my workouts, I would then add those calories in. So I was basically creating a system for myself where I was rewarded for training by being able to eat more food. And it worked. I mean, I lost weight. I was, in terms of weight, the leanest I've been in my adult life. Was I the healthiest? Probably not, because I was so focused on that number on the scale. And I mean, it did make me run faster, so that was a cool side effect. But I created this system where I, on a Saturday, would swim Saturday morning and then go to the gym to burn 1,000 calories. So I wasn't focused in those gym sessions anymore on doing movements to enhance my endurance training. I was truly just doing extra movements to burn more calories so I could hit that 1,000 calorie goal. So I created what was, at the time, an unhealthy relationship between eating and my training. And so that's like the big reason that I think both need to be separate goals. The way I achieve that now, because weight loss is a goal of mine, primarily just for health and comfort in my own body. So how I've done that now, and I'm not going to talk about specific numbers just because my numbers are not going to be the same as somebody else's, is I've picked a calorie number that is a very small deficit if I don't train at all that day. So I do that because that way, if I do train, I'm going to get extra deficit, but I might also need to eat extra that day. So I picked a number that I'm consistently in a deficit. The deficit is going to go up and down day to day based on training, what I eat. And that, for me, I'm not on my Fitness Pal adding in my training. I'm not looking at the calories burned in my training. I'm looking at, did I train today? How hungry am I? Am I absolutely famished? Or did I do a really big workout today? That's when I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna eat extra today. Like, I need extra food. I might even have a day like last Sunday, I did a bike ride outside. I hadn't been biking. I was exhausted. I really wanted a sandwich. And I was like, you know what? Today we're just not gonna track.
So just coming in here to mention that I know it sounds like I am demonizing sandwiches. I am not. I actually wanted a very specific sandwich, a wild salmon-wich from Jason's Deli with a bag of chips and a cookie. I wanted kettle chips. I accidentally ordered regular chips, but I just wanted to come in and say I am not demonizing sandwiches. I just wanted a very heavy meal that I think if I tracked it, I probably would have gotten a little bit overwhelmed with being outside of my deficit. So for me, the best choice was to do an untracked day, which I'm actually planning to do tomorrow after my bike ride as well.
So that day, I just didn't track. I ate to my hunger. I made sure I felt good. So that's where, sorry, dog. So that's where I kind of split the two. So, well, yes, I do want to be in a deficit. I've created a small deficit through my calories. I am adjusting it based on my hunger and my actual needs, instead of looking at specific calories and trying to eat as little as possible. And for me so far, it does seem to be, again, I just started this recently, but it does seem to be a little bit easier honestly, because I'm definitely not eating 1,300 calories on days that I don't train. And I have been able to feel satisfied and still eat food that I enjoy. Today I had basically the equivalent of, if you look at like the actual serving size, 2 bowls of cereal, and it was great. Because that was what my body needed. I had 2 tough workouts today and just needed some extra food. So I had cereal because it sounded good. And then kind of like I was just talking about, I think it's really important to recognize your higher volume training days and recovery. So for me today, I wouldn't say it was super high, but I really needed like some extra, I needed to time my food today because I was doing 2 workouts. So I made sure before my strength workout, which is what I did first, I had a stroopwafel and yogurt, and then before my run this afternoon, I had a banana on my way to the Greenway because I figured banana, potassium, and also the carbs to support the run. So I just think it's really important to make sure that you are taking those things into account and not just using training to try and get to as small of a deficit of an amount of calories as possible for the day. And I'm gonna pause for just a second. Actually, I guess, you know what, because my dog is freaking out, we're gonna end this part 1 here. I hope you have found some of this information helpful. Okay, so like I was saying, because I have already been talking for about 15 minutes, I am going to go ahead and end this first part here. The big takeaway I think that, or I hope that someone can take from this, is you don't need to train to eat, and that you don't need to be as small as possible to perform. There is this, yes, weight can impact performance, but it can also negatively impact performance. If you're in a deficit all the time, it's probably gonna start to impact how your workouts feel, and I've experienced that personally. So I'm going to end this part 1 here and just kind of run through some of the remaining things I want to talk about. So I just talked about how your goals need to be separate, and sorry, I don't have a good way to like put this behind my camera, so I keep looking down. I'm going to talk more about goals and being realistic with them, how to time your nutrition with your workouts, managing longer workouts. Those are kind of the 3 big remaining topics that I want to talk about, and I think they do work well together. So hopefully this will only be a 2-part series and it won't become some really long drawn out series. I filmed a little bit today and I'm going to film tomorrow as well, just talking about making sure that I have enough food in the house to support my workouts and how I grocery shop without buying a ton of extra food every week, because I am guilty of buying things and then forgetting that I bought them. So I hope you enjoyed this video and did find it informative, because I personally, just one last thing because I forgot to make a note of it, I personally did find it a little bit tough when researching this to find good information. I did want to also mention actually the one other video I found on the topic. It was a video from, at the time he was Triathlon Taryn on YouTube, and it was talking about how endurance training slows down your metabolism, and I could get into it forever. I just felt like there was no research studies linked. It was, and I mean, I understood what he said. He was basically saying that if you're constantly in a slight deficit because you're training so much, your body does adapt. So through metabolic adaptation, your metabolism might go down. Which, warning, if you are trying to lose weight while endurance training, your metabolism is gonna slow down. But I just felt like it didn't expand on that topic enough. So that was the only YouTube video I saw on it. So again, I'm going to stop here because my dog is being a jerk, and I hope to see you in the next one.